Kelly and I woke up this morning to more rain, something that we have been experiencing a lot of as we settle into our second month in our tiny cabin. We have enjoyed so many new experiences in the past few months. We moved away from a county population of 900,000 people to one of just 9,000. As a family, we each saw our first snow, and we have made a lot of great friends, including each one of you as you walk along this journey with us. But today was a day to help someone else. Peggy is our newest neighbor, making her retirement in the pine-filled hills of Alabama. She has a small cabin that's on its way right now, but in order to be ready for the cabin, she needs some trees cleared so that a local energy consortium can bring in power from the dirt road. I arrived to Dayv already helping spread some gravel and sand that Peggy had brought in to make her driveway a little more functional. This is Crush and Run. Crush and Run is a mixture of stone that can be used for building pads, bases, driveways, backfilling water or sewer lines. Depending on the quarry where it was manufactured, it can be made up of crushed, screened, and sized limestone, trap rock, or granite in a process that causes irregular shapes that enable the crush to bind together while the stone dust particles work to fill any voids. After Dayv finished spreading the run, we got started on the path for power. The power company told Peggy that they will provide 90 feet of line from the pole at the dirt road for free, and that she'll have to provide everything else. So our first task was to take down some trees. Lots of trees. We assessed the area looking for the best way to remove the vegetation. Some trees had been uprooted in our recent snowstorm, one that gave our small hillside over 10 inches of snow before knocking out the power to our entire region, killing all cellular and power activity, and leaving everyone here in the dark for a few days, some without access to wood or propane energy, and reminding everyone nearby how fragile our life can be when access to power and communication is suddenly removed. Using Dayv's tractor and some ties, we were able to remove dozens of smaller trees that would have taken us an hour to move, before pushing out of the way others that needed to go before we could get to the bigger vegetation. Halfway through the day we took a break for lunch, and Peggy came by our cabin to put some eyed screws into her new trailer. Her gate kept jumping out of its channel when she went over bumps, so she bought 4 eyed screws, and we got them into her trailer with some chain and carabiner clips. She also brought with her a new chainsaw to help with the job today, and I ran back to our tiny house to get some chain oil. Before long, it was time to start the chainsaws. For being on the less expensive end of the spectrum, at 14-inch and $100 chainsaws, we have found that the Ryobi and Poland brands can fit in line with the more expensive alternatives when taken care of properly. But where you can abuse some of the other brands like Steel and Echo, you have to pay closer attention to dirt and grime with these less expensive brands. Sometimes, when making a cut, the tree will pinch the guide bar and the chain of the chainsaw, binding it into place within the tree. When this happens, you will have to either drive a series of wedges into the tree to unbind the guide bar, or use a force multiplier like the bucket of a tractor to push the tree in the opposite direction, freeing up the chainsaw while keeping the tree maneuvered in a safer position. After cutting the trees, we move the fallen limbs and vegetation to a safer spot, where they will be cut up into smaller pieces for Peggy's up-and-coming wood stove. We'll be using the hardwood for indoor cooking and heat, and the pine and other scrub brush for some enjoyable fireside chats.
And then after a day's worth of work, we were able to get a path cleared for Peggy, one that if the power company were to bring in a group of people, would have cost her around $1,800 to $2,200. This is why community is so important. This is why friends nearby who are willing to put in some work is so important to the off-grid and homestead community, and for long-term emergencies, for long-duration emergencies. If something happens and you're no longer to access, you no longer have access to things like emergency medical care, tree cutters, plumbers, electricians, people who will help you just cut firewood, you'll be in that much more trouble in the event of a disaster. So today was a really exciting day. You guys wanted to know what was going on Peggy's property. We were able to get a path cleared. She's going to have power run here within just a couple of weeks to a small cabin. Now, just like Kelly and I over at our homestead, Peggy's long-term plan is completely off the grid. But sometimes the best way to get there, the fastest way to get there, is to just get everything necessary that will get you in and let you get started. So please, if you guys have long-term goals of going off the grid, if you have long-term goals of setting up a survival retreat or your entire homestead, don't let little bumps get in your way. I was letting those little bumps get in my way and in Kelly's way, and we kind of threw that caution to the wind and said, what's the next thing we can get done? We got that done and have moved forward so much. So thank you guys for being here with us. Thank you for taking a look at the path that we cleared. And special thanks to Dave for helping out and getting in here with his tractor. And he has a lot more skill cutting trees than I did. Thank you, Dave, for getting in here and helping out with getting those trees down. I know Peggy appreciates it so much. From Kelly and I to you and yours, as always, stay safe and keep watch.